Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel and my first ever YouTube video. I've wanted to make a YouTube for a while now, so I thought what better time than the fall when there's so many cute and cozy videos to make. They're my favorite to watch, so I'm super excited. I guess I'll just go ahead and do a little bitty intro just because it is my first video. A couple things about me. My name is Rachel Humphreys Porter. I'm 24 years old. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, a little bit north of it. I have two cats named Chai and Puddles, and they are my life. They're my children. I first began my reading journey almost 2 years ago with Throne of Glass. I never thought that I would be a reader. I always hated reading in school. I always had to force myself to read the books. I don't think I actually fully read a book since like 5th or 6th grade until I picked up Throne of Glass. I only picked up Throne of Glass because my sister was reading it. I told her I'd read the first book and I said I'm not gonna like it though. Like, this is just not my speed. I don't like reading. I read all of the Throne of Glass books in the span of a month, which was kind of crazy considering I hadn't read a book since literally 5th grade, but I loved them so much. And by the time I finished Kingdom of Ash, I literally knew that I was going to be a reader. But yeah, I even have a Throne of Glass tattoo. I've got the You Do Not Yield tattoo with a fire heart. It's one of my favorite ones that I have, but that was 2 years ago. And so now I have read almost 200 books since then. I don't see myself slowing down at any point, especially since I am now starting a booktube. That is a little bit about me. With that being said, we're going to talk about all of my 5-star reads from this year so far. There are a lot, but I feel like that's a good thing. I've had a really good reading year so far, and I love that I've had this many 5-star reads. So let's get into it. So I did start off the year with a Throne of Glass reread to prepare for House of Flame and Shadow. So my first 5-star read of the year was actually Heir of Fire. And then I read Queen of Shadows, which is my favorite of the series. It's honestly SJM's best book. That one's actually 6 stars for me. And then I read Empire of Storms, and I rated that 5 stars as well. I didn't get to read Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash because I was way behind schedule. So after that, my next 5-star read was actually an arc, and it is A Song to Drown Rivers. This actually comes out like in a week or two. It was such a good book. It had me so emotional. It made me cry a lot, and the ending is so tragic, but it just is like the perfect ending for the book. So also, the deluxe edition of it is so beautiful with the sprayed edges. I'm so excited. And my next one after that was House of Vein and Blood, which is actually a 6-star read for me. This is one of my favorite books of the year. I feel like it is so slept on. I don't see anyone talking about it, but it is so good. It doesn't feel like a lot of the romanticities that are out there right now, which I love that about it. If you like Peaky Blinders, you will love this. It is giving very much the same vibes, but it has a magic system and it has a romance. And I feel like that is just Peaky Blinders, but times 10. Also, I tabbed it so much. I genuinely thought this was a perfect book. This is a perfect spooky season read. So if you're looking for one, I would say go for this. After that, I embarked upon my favorite journey this year. This is my favorite series that I read this year. The whole reason I put it off so long is because I used to think that romance was not for me. I thought I couldn't read a book if it didn't have fantasy because what was fun about it is just about love. I didn't think that was something I would be interested in until I read these. This is literally my second favorite series of all time. I am so obsessed with it. I could not brag about this series more if I tried. I want everyone I know to read these. They are the most attached to characters I've ever gotten. I felt like I was there. And then one of my favorite parts about them is that I think Jessa Hastings has some of the most beautiful writing that I've ever read. And her quotes just, I had to highlight and underline everything because her quotes just were so pretty. Like, she is a poet. So I rated Magnolia Parks 5 stars. I was hooked from the beginning. I know a lot of people say that, you know, like the first one you just have to get through it. I don't feel that way. I loved it from the beginning. On the first page, I was sat. I thought it was gonna be a 5-star immediately, and it was. And I rated Daisy Hates 6 stars. This is like my favorite book of the year. Daisy Hates is me. I am Daisy Hates. She is my soul character. If you want to know who my favorite character of all time other than Aelin is, it is Daisy Hates. I love her so much. She's just like my mean, sad, tortured princess, and I love her. Then I didn't actually end up rating The Long Way Home 5 stars. I rated it 4 stars. And Daisy Hates The Great Undoing was 5 stars. And then Into the Dark was also 5 stars. But with how much I think about it and love it, I feel like it might actually be a 6-star read for me. It is one of the saddest books I've ever read, one of the most I've ever cried, and it is one of my most tabbed books. I just loved everything about it. I think it was the perfect finale, and this is the book where I truly fell in love with Magnolia and BJ, and it's sad that it was in the last one, but I loved it so much because I am a Daisy girly, but this one just hits different. Then my next 5-star read was actually The Prisoner's Throne. So I started The Stolen Heir right after I finished Magnolia Parks. I hadn't read that yet. Cruel Prince is one of my favorite fantasy series that I've read to date, and so I don't know why I put off The Stolen Heir for so long. I think I had just seen a lot of mixed reviews and I was nervous to like tamper with the world because I loved it so much, but I'm glad that I finally read it because I actually loved The Stolen Heir so much. And then The Prisoner's Throne was also just incredible, and I feel sad because I feel like not a lot of people ended up reading this when it came out, and that was something I was worried about with this duology, that it wouldn't live up to the Cruel Prince hype. Cruel Prince has this nostalgia factor to it that like, cannot be matched. This does a pretty good job of coming like really close. Also just love Oak and Ren. I think they're amazing characters. If this year was anything, it was the year of me finding new series that I could be obsessed with and cry over and just literally immerse myself fully into the world to the point where I don't know what my real life looks like because I am so obsessed with the books that I'm reading. But that is how I love it. I would have it no other way. Ended up reading The Boys of Tommen, and this is my second favorite series that I read this year. I am a Joey Aoife girl, so my favorites were Saving Six and Redeeming Six. I rated them all 5 stars except for Saving Six is 6 stars for me. It was my favorite. It's one of my favorite books of the year. It made me cry so much. These are also 2 of my most annotated books of all time. They might actually be my most annotated. I literally went insane with these, and I couldn't tell you why other than the fact that everything that happened I was so emotional about that I had to remember that emotion and put a tab for it. I also wrote in them a bunch, so they feel like so much more than a romance. The like underlying story and plot is just so impactful and important. Also the writing style, even though I wouldn't say it's like magnificent, it is so immersive, and that is my favorite thing about a series, is just making sure that I feel like I'm there. I'm not checking the page numbers, you know what I mean? It is also just like one of the best found families I've ever read. It is some of the most I've ever loved a character. Joey Lynch is a top 5 character of all time for me. Do still need to read Taming 7, but I know I'm probably gonna rate it 5 stars too. After that, I decided to read the Chestnut Springs series. I genuinely thought there is not a shot in the world that I would be a cowboy romance fan. Alas, I am. This one is my favorite. This is the best one by far to me. And then the only other one I rated 5 stars was Heartless. I did rate all the other ones 4 stars, so I love this series, but I just thought that these 2 were the best. After I finished Chestnut Springs, Wild Love literally came out the day that I finished Hopeless, so I immediately started Wild Love, and this actually ended up being my favorite Elsie Silver book. I rated this one 5 stars as well. I read it in under 24 hours. I think this is her best work. I think these are her best written characters, and I just feel like a kindred spirit with Rosie. Like, I connected with her on a level that I don't usually connect with characters, and so I loved this book so much for that. I also low-key liked that this one wasn't very much a cowboy romance. It was like a mountain town romance, and it was just, the vibes were vibing, okay? Then I got into my YA romance bag. Just something quick, easy, fun, not a lot of thought, but just giving you like the giggles, and that is exactly what Better Than the Movies did. I didn't think I would be a YA romance girl, okay? It was so cute. This is literally a rom-com as a movie. I rated this one 5 stars, just strictly off vibes. I just had such a good time reading it, so I just love my tab colors for this one. I feel like they match the cover so much, so I love that. Then we have my favorite book of the year, tied with Daisy Hates for my favorite book of the year, The 7-Year Slip. This was 6 stars for me. This is one of the best books I've ever read. This one just relates to me on like a soul level, and that is why I call it a soul book. Reading this book felt like reliving my situation. I came out on the other side a little bit more healed, and so I will love this book forever for that. I thought that the story was just so beautiful. The writing style is incredible. I think Ashley is one of the most talented writers that I've read. This is the most I've ever felt for a book, one of the most I've ever cried for a book. This is my most annotated book. I can't even explain how much this book means to me. I love it. I love it so much. I will love it forever. I am its #1 defender until I die. Then I was introduced to the amazing and magical world of Abby Jimenez. I read 2 of her books. I have rated both 5 stars. Her writing style is so addicting, so immersive, so beautiful, and she writes characters that are so unique and just so interesting and so lovable. Jacob Maddox is also one of my favorite book boyfriends of the year. I love him so much. Then next, and this is one of my favorite fantasy series I've ever read so far, Red Rising and Golden Sun, and this is book 1 and 2 of the Red Rising trilogy. I only read these 2 so far, but they're both 5 stars for me. This is also one of my first experiences with a book written by a man. These are incredible. These feel like Star Wars meets Game of Thrones meets The Hunger Games, if that makes sense. These are epic, and they're beautiful, and They're tragic and I love them so much and I can't wait to continue the series. I just know that all of these are probably going to be 5 stars, potentially some 6 stars in there as well. Then I read Wild Eyes on release day and I rated it 5 stars. I think Rose Hill is Elsie Silver's best work. West was everything and more. It was my first romance back in a while because I've been kind of on my fall TBR. This was like a fun little filler. I was kind of missing romance, honestly. I had like a fully romance summer, so coming back to it was nice. This one was a lot of fun. I really think that this is some of her best work and she's just progressing and getting better as an author. I love this for her. I love this for me and I cannot wait for Wild Side to come out. And these are my last 5 stars as of now. I just started the Harry Potter series for the first time, but I'm a huge fan of the movies. I've seen Prisoner of Azkaban probably 45 times. I could quote scenes from all the movies. I just love them that much. I don't know how I haven't read the books again since I was in 5th grade, but even then I knew I loved them. I was a little bit nervous because I was thinking that they were going to feel very childish since they are middle grade books, but I am actually so surprised at how much I am enjoying these. I already cried to all of the books. Like, there has been a scene in every book where I have cried at least once, but truly I'm having so much fun. And I already know they're all probably going to be 5 stars for me because the first 3 have been 5 stars. But so yeah, those were all my 5-star reads so far this year. Like I said, I did have a lot. I really think all the ones I gave 5 stars truly deserved it, but who's to say? Thank you for watching my first ever video. I do have a TikTok and I do have an Instagram. I will link them in the bio below and just probably put them on the screen right here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week and I'll see you guys next time.